Hey everybody, I'm Jason Plager. Welcome to the Horror Slash Show. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, check our past interviews and segments online, and leave comments and let's be a family. Anyway, we got a pretty packed show today. On the show, we have Lee Howard. This guy is one really cool artist, and not just paints and stuff. This guy gets really creative, and we're going to talk all about it. Quiet Room Bears. That's all I got to say. And our first guest on this show is none other than a YouTube sensation and pretty outspoken. Yeah, I'd say she's pretty outspoken. That Star Wars girl. So here she is, known as that Star Wars girl.
Hello.
Anna, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you prefer to go by Star Wars girl, or if I say Anna, you're gonna get pissed?
Anna's easier.
Anna's easier. All right. Okay, cool. So again, yeah, thanks for being on the show. I'm pretty thrilled, seen your stuff a lot. And one of the things I noticed about you is you're strongly opinionated on things and you stand by it. And I love that. I'm just kind of curious, is that hard to do?
No. I mean, I don't find it hard to do.
No.
I mean, why would you say something you don't believe in? You know?
Yeah. No, but do you get a lot of blowback?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really care. It's people that I've never. Sorry, my dog's going crazy.
No, it's a common theme on this show. We have hello.
This is Tulip, by the way. Yeah, it's like
hello, Tulip.
The people that complain, it's people that have absolutely no effect on my life whatsoever, that I'm never going to meet, that I will probably never run into. So their opinions, I mean, this might sound mean, but they really don't matter.
Yeah.
The people that do matter, it's like my friends, my family, hers, and then the people that are subscribed to me, you know?
Has Tulip ever been hard on you?
Yeah, when she doesn't get a T word.
Oh, okay.
Or when you're not looking directly at her at all times.
Got it. Okay, fair enough. But like when I'm, like it's good that it sounds like you have thick skin, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to be able to do this internet thing, right?
Well, yeah and no. Yes, you're definitely right on that. But what I find is like the reason why I really wanted you on this show is because you do go for it. Like, you do shout out your opinions, and whether people agree with them or not, it's not popular these days to really go out there with a strong opinion that isn't like conforming to the the masses or whatever. So that's kind of a cool thing about you. But I would think it would kind of get hard on you, but I guess not, and that's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I've gotten it so much my entire life that, it's just somebody on the internet. That's nothing,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good stuff. So there's a few things I definitely want to talk to you about. Obviously, we're going to talk some Star Wars. I want to talk about Revelation, the Kevin Smith show, and a few other things. We'll do some fun things. But first off, I want to start off with YouTube, your YouTube channel. So how did you come up with the idea to start off this YouTube channel, and when was that?
Oh my gosh, it was a complete accident, honestly. So it's crazy. So I had moved down to Southern California because I'm from Northern California, and I was working and I wasn't really paying attention to anything going on in pop culture. Like, I remember when Me Too was happening on Facebook, but I didn't even know how to use Twitter back then. And then I remember like stuff was weird a little, like, because when I was in college, I went to college for concept art for video games, animated movies, and like television. And so I remember they were like really pushing like women. And I was the one like, there's been women in everything since the beginning of time. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. So they hated me for that because I was, the kid in class that was like, well, actually, if you watched it, like, has no one seen Alien? Like, Terminator? Like, come on, no one saw that. But anyways, so I was kind of aware of what was going on with the whole woke thing, but it didn't, I guess you kind of know it, but you don't realize it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was as big as it was. And so I got tickets for The Last Jedi, and I thought this was going to be Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, this is going to be the best fucking movie ever. Because I can't stand JJ. He destroyed Star Trek. And so when he did Star Wars, I was like, stop crying, please. I was like, motherfucker. Oh, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I was like, this motherfucker wrecked fucking Star Trek. And now he just made a New Hope again. And I was like, okay, he can't finish anything, right? We all know what happened with Lost and all of that. He doesn't know how to finish. He's all the ideas. And I was like, okay, thank freaking goodness he's not on the second movie.
Guy that doesn't know how to finish.
Yeah.
Not the greatest thing. Not what you want to be known for. But anyway.
Well, that is what he's known for. At least in, I guess, my opinion, he is. But I was like, thank goodness this guy I've never heard of named Rian Johnson is going to be doing The Last Jedi. And so me and my boyfriend, we had like a couple drinks before, because they had like a work party that was conveniently at the same place where we were seeing the movie. So we had a couple margaritas and we went to the movie, and I was like, am I this drunk? Like, I was like, I only had 2 drinks. There's no way you didn't open a Star Wars movie with a yo mama joke, right? And then I was like, okay, I must just be fucking hammered or something. And then I was like, okay, Luke Skywalker. And then he throws the lightsaber, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I just, when you get so angry, you could feel like the blood in your face. And it's like, I'm just like, what is going on? And I was pissed. And so like halfway through the movie, I'm just like so irritated. And I usually don't talk during movies. I'm like, fuck this. My boyfriend looks over at me and he's like traumatized. He's like, what? My girlfriend loves Star Wars. Why is she mad? What happened? And I was like, is this a fucking joke? Did you like prank me? This can't be the right fucking movie. This has got to be one of those parody movies. Because it just got worse and worse. And then I had tickets for the night of, and the next morning, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna, like, something was gonna come up and whatnot. And also it's like I wanted to see it twice.
Yeah.
So the next morning, completely sober, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be different.
She did.
Right?
Oh wow.
And so I'm waiting in line, and then I even got like the perfect seat and everything right in the middle, because I saw it by myself. And then like the person next to me, they're like, oh, hey, you bought it kind of in the middle of the aisle. Can like you switch with my wife so we can sit next to each other? And at this point I was like, usually I would say no, but I was like, you know what? I saw this movie. I'm like, I don't need to sit in the middle of the theater to see it. Yes. So I was like, yeah, fine. So I switched over one seat, and the guy next to me, he's like, have you seen it yet? And I was like, yes. And he's like, you don't sound too happy. And I'm like, we'll see when the movie ends. And it was even worse. And I was like, oh my God. And then he's like, so what'd you think the second time? I'm like, and he's like, yeah. Half that movie didn't need to be in it. And so I've known my entire life. The reason why my channel is That Star Wars Girl is because I've been known my entire life as Anna, that Star Wars girl, or that weird Star Wars girl. And so I posted on Facebook. I was like, don't fucking see this movie. It's not Star Wars. Just going on this huge rant on Facebook. And everyone I've ever known my entire life is like, what do you mean you didn't like a Star Wars movie? You love Star Wars. I mean, I gave a speech at my high school graduation all about Star Wars.
Did you? That's
yes.
Awesome.
And so I went to the same high school as George Lucas.
Oh,
so I'm like,
wow, royalty.
Well, so then everyone that I've ever known has asked me, Anna, why didn't you like Star Wars? So I was writing all of these DMs. I'm like, I got work to do. I can't write the same message and like copy and paste and change little things 100 times. So I was like, I'm just going to make a video and cover like the main points. And so I did that, and I posted it on YouTube because it was too long to post on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And people that weren't my friends and family watched it, because at the end of the day, I don't think they really cared that much, because it's like a 40-something minute video.
Oh, right.
And then I had no other videos on my channel, and my channel was still like my real name and all that. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, this video is getting a lot of traction. I'm getting a lot of like weird people DMing me. And I was like, I'm just going to change it. I was like, what should I call the channel? I was like, oh, I'm just going to call my nickname That Star Wars Girl. And then people asked me to make more videos, and went from there.
Wow. So your first video started getting traction right off the hop.
Yeah. It was like instantaneous. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like I had like 2 subscribers, and the video had like almost 100,000 views. And I was like, what the hell?
Holy crap, that is awesome.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
crazy.
Okay, so a takeaway from that story for me is the guy that asked you to move seats, and the reason why I get pissed off about that is because you learn, like I went to film school, and you learn in film
Mhm.
school there's the sweet spot in the theater, and I'm
That's
like,
what I got.
okay, so if you're in the sweet spot, obviously the guy didn't know, but we're not going to cut him any slack. That was a
It was
crappy.
like an older couple,
Okay, so we can forgive them, but that
They
pisses.
were really nice. They gave me candy.
Did they? Okay, they
Yeah,
paid
they
you
gave
off.
me an extra candy.
Okay, so they paid you off.
They
Okay, so
were super nice. They were just like, yeah, it's like we don't mind, but like if you don't mind. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I've seen it already.
what's funny is that you said on another day you would have probably said no. So as sweet as a couple as they were, they got you on the right day. So
They did. They
yeah,
did. They were nice. They said the right thing. And I already knew this movie was going to be shit. If it was like the best movie ever, I'd be
yeah,
like, I kind of went out of my way to get this seat,
yeah. Awesome. Okay, so after that first video is up, then is that instant in your mind? Holy crap, let's do this YouTube thing.
No, it was because I don't know exactly how far apart the videos were. I was like, oh, this is fun. And then people were like, because I didn't know anything about the people making these movies, which I probably should have, but it's like I said, I had just graduated college. I was working my first like real job and all that. So it's like, and I, just moved in with a boyfriend. I had all these things to going, and I had never lived in this part of this, the state before. So there's all these other things going on. And so then people are like, you need to like look into like Kathleen Kennedy, JJ Abrams, Ryan Johnson. You need to see what's been going on. And I watched this interview, and JJ is sitting next to Kathleen Kennedy. Or is it a JJ or is it Ryan? It was one of the guys. Both of those fuckers. They just make me angry. And it's a zoom in of her face, and she's like, oh yeah, little girls, they couldn't relate to like Luke Skywalker, Han Solo. All like the little girls had Princess Leia. And I was like, bitch, say what?
Yeah.
What do you mean we couldn't relate to Luke Skywalker? Motherfucker. And I'm like, this, when I watched Star Wars, I was really, really young. And it's like, of course, I like princesses because I was a little girl. But when Luke Skywalker was looking at the binary sunset, that like touched my heart because I grew up on a farm and I knew exactly what it was like to be staring off at the sunset and just dreaming of like going on an adventure and something more. And so that it's like I already thought it was cool because Darth Vader was awesome, Leia was awesome, R2, it was cool. But that moment I was like, okay, you just bonded with my soul. This is in my blood from now on. And so when she said that, I was like, this fucking. And so that's when I did like my first rant video.
Okay.
And it was like 45 minutes of me just going off and ripping this woman a new one. And that video catapulted my first video even further. And that one kind of blew up the channel as far as subscribers.
Okay.
And people were like, you need to go talk to like these other YouTubers that are doing like talking about Star Wars and stuff like that. So I became friends with other YouTubers that all gave me tips on like how to grow my channel and how to, I guess, do hashtags and title and thumbnails and all of that stuff.
Wow.
And then it's just been going around since then and evolving.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know it. See, like, hearing, I mean, that what just pissed you off there is like, being told that women can't relate to like a male character. Meanwhile, you're like in love with Luke Skywalker. These are the issues that I have. And some of the conversations I get into on this show, it's like, no, that's not what we're thinking. No, that's not what, everybody is. And that's what drives me nuts. And those are some of the things that I like that you stand up on. So
I feel like I've always related more to male characters than female characters. Like there's very few female, because usually, I mean, obviously there's some that are a little bit more relatable. Like I think Sarah Connor is a really good one because she's just living her life waitress, and then she's got to rise to that occasion of like, oh shit, I'm going to be the mother of like the savior of humanity. But if you watch the first movie, how different she is in the second movie.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of the female characters I feel like are already established, like Laura Croft, or excuse me, I get yelled at this all the time. Lara Croft is already a badass. Princess Leia is already a badass. It's like me, dorky little kid. I'm like, well, I'm not. You
Yeah.
know, I'm like Luke Skywalker, you know, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm just trying to muddle my way and hope I have good intentions. Hopefully it all works out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like I always really hone in on writing. If something is written, it doesn't matter if it's a guy playing it, a girl playing it,
Yeah.
an
Like
alien.
Ellen Ripley. That wasn't written
Yeah.
for a female character. It was just a character.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I like, stop worrying about like, what you feel socially obligated to do and write well. That's
Mhm.
that's my argument with a lot of this stuff. And yeah.
That's why I always say watch older movies, because especially back before they really had special effects, all they had were the actors and the script. And
Yeah.
that's how you have movies that are going to go down, you know, in history, some of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, look
Mhm.
at Casablanca. I know it's not everyone's favorite movie, but it's a famous movie for a reason,
For sure.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Um, so give us an idea of the production of your show. So from when you conceive of your next segment to when it's on YouTube, and run us through that process for people that are curious.
I am probably the worst person to ask because I am the laziest person you will ever meet when it comes to making
Then you're the
videos.
best. Then you're the best because everybody's lazy these days. So you're
Oh no,
perfect. You're speaking
there's some
to
of
the
my
masses.
friends spend years making videos, and I'm over here like, here's my, so this is what advice when I give to people. It's like, if you're gonna do a YouTube channel, it has to be about something that you can talk about nonstop without running out of things to talk about for 10 hours. So obviously I can do that about Star Wars and Star Trek and like X-Files, SG-1, stuff like that.
And Brie
And
Larson.
okay, that it's more like, what the fuck did this bitch do now? Right?
Sorry.
I don't find her interesting, but it's like sometimes it's like, you know, when you're drinking and you're like scrolling on your phone and then like you see something, it's like, pfft. It's like,
Yeah.
what did she just do? Come on. Like, that's just a reaction to that.
I know,
But
I know. I just figured to throw that in there just to
the
but
breeze, it's been like 2 years. God damn it. Oh my God, that woman. But I will give her agent props and her publicist, because they're like, holy shit, girl, you pissed everyone off. Okay, show your boobs. Okay, now you've
yeah.
made everyone happier. But
That's hilarious.
so my production is, I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to make a video about something I don't want to talk about. And so things that I don't like are politics, right?
Hmm.
I avoid politics on my channel like the plague until they start touching Luke Skywalker and Star Trek. Then I'm like, what are you motherfuckers doing? The thing that drives me crazy is Star Trek, because I'm like, yes, Star Trek has had politics in it, but the way that they do it, especially like I watched Star Trek when I was a little kid, and you're watching, oh my God, of course, when I'm in this, I'm blanking on the name of the episode. But so they, you know, they touch on inequality, they touch on racism, they touch on gender,
Hmm.
right? These are all things that have already been in Star Trek. They've already been done. And they've been done so well that people like me still remember it from when I was a little kid. I mean, these are kind of going to be timeless episodes. And then you have people coming in, this is the first transgender character. It's like, no, bitch, they fucking did that all the way back in the 60s if you actually watched it.
Hmm.
And so when I see something like that, for example, something like what's going on right now with Star Trek, this is a video I haven't filmed yet, but I'm going to, is, do you know anything about Star Trek Lower Decks?
Not too much. Sorry.
Well, I'm sure you might have
Fail.
seen that picture of like, it's the new Star Trek cartoon, and it's for kids, by the way. This episode was rated like for 14 and
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
okay, and so it's got the main character and he's like spread eagle with a little black line covering his, you know, junk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and the people's excuse for this is now it's like, well, look, they've had outfits like this throughout Star Trek, and it's based on there's an episode of Star Trek called, you know, The Naked Time and then The Naked Now, which is an infection that the crew, it's an alien, you know, infection, and it gives you the symptoms of being drunk.
Hmm.
And so that's the new people who have never seen Star Trek's excuse for why they can have just the Enterprise or whatever the ship's name is turn into a big orgy. And one of my friends I was explaining to this to, they're like, so are they saying that being like gay is a disease? Because these people are so stupid. They don't understand how Star Trek works. And so the people defending it, they just have Googled it. They don't know any of the context behind the images. They're just looking for raunchy Star Trek. And it's like, I can explain to you the context behind each image, which is what I'm going to be doing in this video. So the way my production works is something comes into my timeline and I see it and I'm like, this stupid bitch, what did you do now? And so I feel like most of it is seeing something ridiculous and then me having to go, all right, let me explain to you how fucking stupid this is. Let me explain to you the context behind the original material that you guys are bastardizing. And then I get all my like links together or my little tabs. And then I use OBS, which is what I'm using now. That's how you can see like my little tags on here. Mm-hmm. And I organize it and I turn on the camera and I just start talking. If I fuck it up, then I got to do it again because I don't really like editing. I hate editing. It's the bane of my existence. So I try to do as little as possible.
I was going to ask you about that. Okay.
Oh, I fucking hate it. I hate it so much.
I know. I know.
It's the absolute worst.
I agree.
There's some people that love it and I'm like, bless your heart.
Yeah, I know. And work for me for free, but it's well, hard.
Even then I would have a hard time doing it because it's hard communicating my, I guess, thought process to people and the way that I want things done.
Especially your show. Yeah. I mean, it's like, lights on and go kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So you don't write, you just kind of rant or you have your points, I guess.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, I mean, I have like a mental note of things that I want to do and stuff, but so I'm severely dyslexic. People are like, Anna, your script is terrible. I'm like, you don't understand. Have you ever heard me try to read? I'm severely dyslexic. It's like I have to read something 10 times and even then I'm still getting it wrong. So it's actually a joke when I do live streams is me trying to read something and people just laugh and I'm like, you guys don't understand. The struggle is real right now. So no, I don't script anything. It's kind of, I just see something. And this is why I say, don't do a YouTube channel about something that you don't know anything about. So it's very easy for me to talk about something that I've been involved with, that I've loved passionately since I was like a toddler, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's cool. And then after I've done filming, I do have to edit it a little bit. I have my little intro thing that says this is not for children.
Yeah.
Protect myself from the YouTube overlords. And then I have my little like commercial at the end that's like, go check out my Etsy and all my other things. And then I upload it. And while it's processing to be uploaded, I make a thumbnail and then I put everything in on the back end and then set a time for it to release. And that's the whole process.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, limiting the editing is definitely the way to go for sure. But there's always something you have to edit, like whether it's the intro, outro, whatever, all that kind of stuff. But that's cool. No, because I was curious. I was like, I wonder how much of her is scripted or is it, just all
zero.
Yeah. Well, you know what though, but it's kind of a good thing, right? Because it shows in how much passion you have when you're delivering what you're saying to people, right? Like no matter what, when you're reading it off a page, like, unless you're like, highly trained actor and you're putting on an act for everybody, it's difficult. So, I mean, I think it suits your format, and that's part of what you're saying. Like, find a topic that you could talk all day about, and it's just so natural, right? So, cool.
I tell people the way I do it, it's like I pretend like I'm talking to my friend, and it's like, how would I explain this to my friend that's a normie that knows nothing about this?
Yeah.
And so I just talk to my camera like I'm talking to my friend. And so I think people like that because it is a little like personal, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you watch like a lot of it, you can kind of see the way that I do that.
Yeah. I guess. It appealed to me. Like I said, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, gotta reach out to you. Gotta reach out to you. So and I really like, how you said about like, staying away from politics and stuff like that. That's again, with this show, that's how I kind of designed it. Like, it's going to creep in there here and there, but that is just stuff I just, this is entertainment. Let's get away from it all. And, so again, I agree and commend you on that. So is your YouTube channel, I mean, don't have to get specific, but is it profitable for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's, definitely some months are better than others, and that's how you kind of have to learn how the algorithm works.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, for example, since you brought up the Brie Larson, so that month was my best month on YouTube, well, as far as numbers, not as far as profit, I guess I
Okay.
should say. So my first year on YouTube, I got to about 19,000 subscribers, and took me like a year. And then I was like, YouTube will do this where it's like you're about to reach like the milestone, like 20,000. So I was at like 19,950 for like almost 2 months, and it was driving me crazy. And then February rolled around, and I went from 20,000 subscribers to 100 and I think 10,000.
Holy crap.
So
How?
I got 80,000 subscribers in 1 month just from the Brie Larson videos. And people gave me shit. And I'm like, I actually, out of all the people I know, I think I made the least amount of Brie Larson videos. It just hit the algorithm right.
Wow.
And so I just had the right video topics, the right tags. And I mean, she was all that they were really promoting. And so that's why that YouTube had to change the algorithm. So now you do Brie Larson video, probably won't do very well.
Yeah.
But back then, because they were promoting her and because the algorithms were set to promote her, they didn't realize how much
backlash.
Well, I don't think they realized how moronic she was with the stuff that she was saying, because it was promoting all these Brie Larson videos. And that's why everyone kept making them, because it's like, wow, YouTube loves these videos. The audience loves these videos. Let's keep making them. And mine just hit the algorithm right. And so you'll find if you just see a channel go from like nothing to something overnight, it's because they hit the algorithm right. And that's why I say it's just in the roll of the dice.
Yeah.
And so a while ago, the stuff with Naughty Dog happened, and I didn't make a single Naughty Dog video. And a lot of people's channels got skyrocketed because of all the drama with Naughty Dog, because it was in the algorithm, it was in the news, but they thought it was going to be positive. And so it'll work for you until YouTube figures out that it's having a negative response, and then they go and change the algorithm.
They go and change it. But by then,
well, so and that's the same thing, because I think you originally contacted me about the He-Man shit. Okay, so He-Man, same thing. It was in the algorithm for good, but then it saw that backlash, and YouTube, I think, was on top of like cutting that.
Yeah.
So it only lasted like a week or two. But if you can catch when the algorithm is like hot on something, you can ride that wave until and
by then you've amassed your followers, your likes and stuff like that. So it's about catching that perfect wave.
It is
metaphorical. All right, cool. So what's the plan for the future? Are you just doing this now to kind of then ride it out, or are you like have plans? Like, is this something that you see like 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
I mean, I'm just having fun with it. I started a new YouTube channel recently, which is just for my art, because I'm an artist as well. And I do like painting live streams on there. But I mean, I think I'm going to do it until I can't anymore, just because I feel like it's like I have my real life and my virtual life, because I have some of my best friends now in my entire life are people that I've met through YouTube. And so just for like that aspect of it, I love it, and being able to connect directly to an audience. And I mean, people can say like, oh, internet friends aren't real. And I'm like, you don't like people that I know in real life haven't even been there for me, like people that I've met on YouTube. And heck, I can be doing a live stream and be like, hey guys in the chat, and this will be on like my art channel, where it's like I have the same like 50 people that are dedicated that show up there every single time. Doesn't matter if I'm streaming at 3 a.m. or 5 p.m. They are always there. And I can say, hey guys, remember that one live stream I did like 3 years ago and I mentioned that one thing? What was it? Somebody in the chat will know.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so it's like, wow, it's like you're connecting to this community in a way.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
People all over the world. And I've made some great friends from it. So it's like, I want to just keep doing this until the internet implodes and we have an apocalypse. But
yeah, or until YouTube that keeps doing wackier stuff that continues to frustrate.
All
right.
They hate me though, so
they hate you. YouTube hates you.
Oh yeah.
Why just because you call the bullshit as you see it?
That too, but I think it's like I break their little narrative about things, and so they specifically hate certain things that I say. So it's
Yeah.
like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Do you get in trouble by them, or is it just
Oh yeah, oh
uh,
yeah,
little slaps on the wrist?
yeah. Well, it got to the point one time where they were fucking with me, so I caught them skimming views on my videos.
Really? Eh?
Well, because I have a very weird sleep schedule, right? And so I
Mhm.
remember it was starting around like 3 to 4 a.m. And I'm kind of like a vampire. I'm up all night.
Yeah.
And so I would check like the views on my videos that were doing really well. And all of a sudden the views would just stop. And I got screenshots. And obviously when you take them on your phone, it shows the time.
Yeah.
And like seconds apart, all of a sudden the views started going backwards. And I was posting it on Twitter and I was like, you motherfuckers. And I'm
Yeah.
tagging YouTube. And it got so bad that they they slid into my DMs and they're like, hey, we're here to help you with this issue. We're gonna get it
Yeah.
cleared up for you. So it's like I've never met anyone that YouTube's done that for. And
Yeah.
so the fact that I was, catching them do that, which I don't think they were expecting because it was 3, 4 a.m. my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something like, I mean, YouTube is not run like a regular, like, like an NBC or anything like that. Obviously people know that, but like it has yeah, rather there's a lot of videos out there that explain a little bit about the goings on with YouTube and how they do things. But anyways, don't want to bite the hand that feeds you too much, I guess, right?
yeah.
All right, so I okay, revelation. So okay, let me so this is something like you're talking about the kid that grew up loving He-Man, and I loved He-Man and nothing else. I was not in Transformers, I was not in the GI Joe. I was this He-Man was my, and it still is in some insane way, my life. Like, I mean, that's my guilty pleasure. I love it 10 times more than horror, anything, more than food. So He-Man was what I grew up with. He-Man was what I was passionate about. I loved it. I love the 2002 series that, really got forgotten, but whatever, that's fine. We'll go, we'll forget that. So Revelation comes out, and I'm not I'm not in the minority on my opinions of it, but it was an absolute shit show,
Yeah.
and and you went at it head on. And the reason why I really liked your video, there's a lot of videos I really enjoyed. I thought people got pretty creative during that time, that short period of time. But the thing I liked about it was, I mean, you were addressing the fact that people view you as like, that you were too young to know this, but you weren't. Like, I mean, you grew up with knowing about these things, and you had seen them and stuff. So you weren't too young to share your opinion. Your opinion was awesome. Uh and it's not just like from a He-Man fan like myself. I mean, I think there was a lot of people that shared this. So I don't even know if I have a question in here. I'm just basically like, what a gong show that was.
Oh, I know. And we still have part 2, right?
Right.
It's
But
just
that,
going to get worse.
but okay, so this is what I'm thinking. So okay, part 2 is kind of funny though, because after part 1, and you can hate on it and just tear it apart in any way you want. But here's the thing: most fans, they've checked out. They're gone. Like part 2, it doesn't even matter.
Mhm.
But for Kevin Smith and for Netflix, I mean, they're losing sleep over the pending season or part 2 of this. Like, they should have released this all in one shot, because knowing that they have to, like, knowing that Kevin Smith has to release and go through this all again, and it'll probably be like even worse if people care.
Mhm.
Maybe people won't care. I gotta imagine that's causing some, like, some heart palpitations on, like, Netflix and Kevin Smith.
I mean, he's just probably smoking a blunt, just trying to, sleep at night, I guess. But I mean, I don't know, the way that he was acting. Did you watch that interview press release thing that he did with the dude that voices Orko.
Yeah.
And just the way he was talking about it, he's like, oh yeah, let's just totally expose how Rotten Tomatoes doesn't work and how Netflix just doesn't care about anything because they got hundreds of millions of subscribers. I think, and this is what I've found to be a similar trait of all people in Hollywood, is that they think that their farts don't stink. And so they're just like, oh, the people that are complaining just aren't as smart as we are. So I don't know if he might be losing sleep. I honestly don't know very much about Kevin Smith. I've never really seen any of his movies. Like I don't even know if he is Jay or Silent Bob because I've never seen it. Right. I really have no interest in it. If I would have, I probably would have seen his movies, but I really just don't care. And then I guess when he started not being cool was when he started crying. I'm like, why am I going to go watch these movies of this dude that just cries about everything? Like, I'm sorry, but that's not very manly. And I mean, you don't have to be manly, even if you're a dude, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I just have no interest in him.
Well,
but sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
Well, no, with this part, how he's just like, oh yeah, it's going to be even better. So I think just knowing the way that these Hollywood people act, I feel like he thinks that he's going to have a gotcha moment with all of us because part 2 is going to be so much better, you know? And so I think he thinks that he's going to have a gotcha moment with all of us when in reality, it's like, I don't think that that's possible based on what I saw in season 1, dude, considering you think that was He-Man because that wasn't fucking He-Man. And that wasn't that wasn't any of them. Right?
No, it wasn't. It was and it was terrible writing. I mean, it was like, see, and this is the thing I hate is that, like, you know, people will come at it as like, you know, well, you just don't like it because you can't handle a woman being like the lead. And I'm like, no, that's not it. Like, I mean, hello, Shira. Like, I mean, I
know,
right? Like, I mean, that's just the dumb you know, like the dumb argument against everything that was wrong with this. Like, you know,
it's like, who was one of the most powerful people in all of Eternia? Oh yeah, a woman. What was her name? Oh yeah, the fucking sorceress. Give me a fucking break. Whenever people use that excuse, it's like, well, first off, they always think I'm a dude, even though it's that Star Wars girl and it's like a picture of me. I guess they think I'm just a dude pretending to be a chick, but they're always like, you just can't handle strong women. And I'm like, I am a woman. And then they're like, we have internalized misogyny. It's like, but I just explained to you, like, Ellen Ripley, Xena, Sarah Connor, Lara Croft. It's like, do you want me, Princess Leia, do you want me to continue down this like list of all of these women that have been in movies since the beginning of fucking, I guess, filmmaking? Do you want me to get into that? Heck, we can even go into storytelling. Let's get into mythology and all that. Yes. Hello. There's always been fucking women in all of this shit. So that excuse, I'm just like, I feel like that's just a fallback to somebody that has no argument because they don't know what the fuck they're talking
about. But that's the thing. And that's the default argument. Like, I'll even get into not arguments, but I'll even get into exchanges with people who have no idea about He-Man, but they're still arguing just because it's like, well, it's a woman lead. You got a problem with that? And it's like, that's not it. Like, I mean, you want to dissect this thing. I mean, it's bad from like the get-go. Like that first after the battle scene where, you know, Tila finds out, you know, she goes back to the palace there and she's talking to the King Randor and you know, like, I mean,
it makes it all about herself. It's like, I know your son just died. Obviously, you didn't even fucking know he was He-Man, but it's all about me and my feelings because no one told me. It's like, bitch, don't you understand that it would have hindered you if you did fucking know?
Exactly.
I think I said this in my video. It's like, how fucking stupid. It's not their fault that you were that fucking stupid. You didn't realize that Adam was never in the same room with He-Man. Like, come on, bitch.
But like, I mean, and it's a secret, right? So you're basing the whole like fact that this girl is renouncing everything she is, everything she was, because a secret wasn't shared with her.
Well, she's unworthy of being Man-at-Arms.
Well, but I know, and that's the other thing, like, you know, like, I mean, but anyways, it started with that scene right there where and then Randor, you know, just demolishes his best friend Man-at-Arms for, you know, for not telling him a secret. But anyways, it all started with just this basic little, not little, okay, fine, basic secret. And that sent her off into this tailspin where she just completely renounced her whole existence and everything. And I'm like, okay, that's the best they got, like to make Tila disgruntled. Like, Adam's dead. You know, the kid you grew up with, your best friend that you grew up with, like just got ripped apart in front of you, and you're upset because he didn't share a secret with you. Anyways, so it starts from that. The reason why, I kind of honed in on that is like, it starts from that. It doesn't start from like, her being the master of the universe, and then it just carries on. And it just, what drives me nuts is how Kevin Smith, I mean, well, he wasn't a fan, obviously, but how he could say this is like, love
I know,
letter.
don't you love that he lied about that too?
Oh my God. So he's like, I rushed home in 1982 to watch that cartoon. I'm like, dude, it started in 83.
I know, everyone, it's like the Cotton 4K moment. And he's like, guys, I smoke a lot of weed. I got my dates wrong. It's like, you're seen on video of you saying that you were never into He-Man. It's like, we can understand the dates getting mixed up. That's completely fine. But the fact that we caught in 4K, dude, lying.
There was so much bad with this whole spectacle. And then going back to what you're saying about that press conference there with him and Orko, like, I don't even know what that was. Like, I think it was supposed to be to promote the show, because I think it was the day after it came out or the weekend or something like that.
It was like right at, like, I think it was the day it came out, because I don't know if
it
was the same day.
Oh, really? I don't know if
like just at night, because
like
it premiered at like midnight, right?
Yeah.
And then I think it was still the same day, because I watched it. I was driving up to Northern California and I watched it the entire drive. Yeah. And then that night, I remember the live stream was happening. It was a Saturday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's what I remember. But anyways, so yeah, and I'm watching that, and I'm like, this is the first time he's really like kind of, because before he was like all guns blazing, this is going to be awesome. People are going to be, and credit to him, he had to do what he had to do to sell it. But that press conference was just weird. It was just. And, and then like, it was just, the debacle is so insane that the fact that it has to come back. This is what I mean by Netflix and Kevin Smith. Like, the fact that they have to come back to this.
Oh, I know.
It's got to be driving them nuts. And, from what I hear about like what part 2 is, and there's not a lot, actually, there's not a hell of a lot of spoilers, but just.
Oh yeah. Isn't it Tila is going to become the sorceress, and then her girlfriend is going to become He-Man.
Yeah, so that's going to fly well. That'll go over really, really well. But like, how do you conceive of that and think that that's going to work? That's what I don't understand.
Because it's all about women power, right? We got to take something that a man was and then give it to a woman, because that's the only way to empower women. It's not giving a woman something brand new and awesome, because women can't. It's the same thing with switching Grayskull over to being a black guy, right? Because we can't create a brand new character because that's not memorable. We have to take away something that was a white character and give it to a black character.
Yeah, like, I mean, but and even like you when you said Grayskull, you reminded me something. Like, I mean, they made Castle Grayskull, this iconic toy, this iconic image. Whoa, are you still
Sorry,
there?
I gotta let my dog out. She's crying.
No problem.
Sorry, you can keep talking.
They made this iconic image, like, the Castle Grayskull was like this iconic image, and then they made it basically, it was just a hologram over, like, so like, that's what I'm saying. There was like no respect really being paid to anything of what built this franchise, and it just it just drove me nuts. I mean, well,
also it's like, what, Tila, and what is her girlfriend's name, like Andra, whatever the heck her name is. I don't
so unmemorable. Everything is so unmemorable.
Well, no, it's like when they go to Snake Mountain, and it's like, usually you would need He-Man to go storm Snake Mountain, even though Skeletor is not there. It's like, these girls take every single dude out there by themselves. It's like, did you even really need He-Man? Because you guys are all like, yay, wham, and power.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, all right. Well, why'd you need He-Man in the first place? It looks like you guys are doing fine all by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, so, okay, it was Attila, Andra, whatever, Orko at times. And then I was like, Roboto, why Roboto? And then I was like, oh, I get it, because he's not a guy. He's a robot. So let's put him in there because everybody. Anyways, the point is with Masters of the Universe, right from the get-go, like some of the most powerful characters in that franchise in 1982 were the females. Teela was one of He-Man's allies, but one of the most powerful. The sorceress was one of the most powerful, and given like a crucial, you had characters in place there that you didn't have to with everything else. But anyways, yeah, so I'm looking forward to part 2 of that, just because I think it's going to be an absolute gong show, and I think that I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to pay off Rotten Tomatoes to just like give them a break or something like that. But I
don't even think they need to pay off Rotten Tomatoes. They just tell Rotten Tomatoes what they want and they do it.
Yeah, well, no, I agree, but like, I mean, just with even like the fan views and stuff like that. But I don't know, it'll be interesting. Yeah, great job on the video.
Thank you.
So a couple of other things I just want to kind of go over, but Book of Boba.
Yeah.
Are you pumped? Or are you worried?
I honestly don't really care.
No? Why?
To be honest, I feel like Boba Fett is, people are going to hate me for this. I always felt like he was kind of overrated to me. I mean, he looked cool, but I think, I don't know. I liked Darth Vader, and he was just this bounty hunter guy that didn't have any powers. And then he died in Return of the Jedi. So when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, he looks cool, but he never like struck me as something. And then I'm not a fan of The Mandalorian.
No, eh?
No. So this is the way I describe The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Versus the rest of the Disney Star Wars. It's like, okay, Rian Johnson, JJ doesn't fucking care, and he doesn't know anything about the shit that he's doing. Rian Johnson specifically went out of his way to make shit terrible, and he did it on purpose, and he's a skeeving little scumbag, right? Okay, well, as John and Dave, they care, but it's like, when a little kid draws you a picture of like your family and your house, and it's like, oh, honey, that's so sweet. And so it's like, it's not a, photorealistic drawing. Yeah. It's like a stick figure, and it's a house, and it's like, they don't have a brown crayon. So you got like orange hair and like, or orange skin and whatnot. And so it's like a little kid that drew you a picture of you and your family and your house. And it's like, you put it up on the fridge anyway, because they made it for you out of love.
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel like The Mandalorian is. It's like a child stick figure drawing of Star Wars, but it's done out of love. So it's like, that's why I think people are so like, they like it so much, is because there is that care there. But I mean, there's so much wrong with it that I have a hard time watching it. Aside from Baby, I love Baby Yoda. I think he's so cute.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
He's so cute, and I love him so much. And he made me cry.
Yeah.
And that last episode of season 2, it did make me cry. I was very emotional, especially when R2 came on, and I was like, oh my god, they put you in a corner for 3 fucking movies, R2. But
they did well with that last episode for sure.
The very end of the last episode, because then people were like, well, you cried at the end. I was like, yeah, but I was like kind of criticizing it the entire time, because I did a live stream viewing of it with my friend Cecil. And it's like, when the robot is grabbing his neck and then starts punching him in the face, I'm like, you dumb motherfucker, just break his neck. You're a robot. Just use your fucking strength and just snap it. And then when the robots are trying to break through the glass, I'm like, how can you design something that's that fucking stupid? There's an open door button on your side of the door. I'm like, why are they breaking the glass? Like, there's so much wrong with it that it was driving me crazy. Yeah. I'm a big KOTOR fan. So when they brought up, we need to go to Tython, it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's going to have a whole episode of them trying to find Tython, because Tython is a deep core planet, and the hyperspace lanes there are very unstable, and you don't even know if you even find a hyperspace lane to Tython, if it's even going to work. And it's like, oh no, go meet Ahsoka. Oh yeah, I got the route to Tython. All right, we're just there now. And we just happen to show up to the right place. And it's like, me knowing Tython, I'm like, but you do know that there's a lot of little droids that will kind of like destroy you and kill you right there. They're just not there anymore. That's convenient. Also, it's like, I know exactly where that is because I'm from California. It's like, right, what is this? It looked like a fan film. I'm like, at least put a filter over it. Why does it look like California? Right? it's like and then they show it's like, oh yeah, Tython's on the Outer Rim now. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's like, I thought, Dave Filoni, I thought you were the Star Wars lore expert, right? I thought you worked with George Lucas. I thought you knew all of this. Apparently not. And then I did this exact thing that I'm doing to you now on a live stream. There's people there that love The Mandalorian. And they're just like, criticizing it. It's like, guys, these are actual like valid criticisms. But if this happened in The Last Jedi, you guys would be cheering me on. But because it's something that you kind of like now, I'm the embodiment of all evil. So I try not to talk about The Mandalorian because I understand after all the shit that we got, you get a little child's drawing of Star Wars and, you know, it touches your heart and you want to defend it because you're actually getting something that somebody tried with. Yeah. And so that's what's like, I don't know. I don't enjoy talking.
I hear you. No, you know what? I'm gonna say I'm not the biggest fan of The Mandalorian. I thought there was a lot of wasted episodes where I'm like, what happened in that episode? Not much happened in that episode, but I wasted 40 minutes, you know. I thought it was like, now here's what I think. Now, I mean, I'm not on the same level as you for Star Wars, but like, are they missing the obvious? Why don't they just come out with a show called Vader and just have Darth Vader's?
Because that's a man. Which, I mean, Mando is a man too, but I think
is it too obvious?
Touch Vader.
No, but that's okay. So that's the other thing, right? Are they gonna mess it up? So
they are.
I'm like, is it too obvious? You're talking about Darth Vader, which is probably top 5 characters in film history. Maybe. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit exaggerating. Definitely top 5.
That's why they're bringing him into Kenobi.
Villains.
Right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Why they brought him into Rogue One. It's because they know Darth Vader makes money. But the problem with Darth Vader is that he's a villain, and you can't really have real villains in movies or in television now because people are too sensitive. Like, they did that comic book with Darth Vader where there's the woman that was like in love with him and he kills her and everyone lost their mind. It's like, did you not fucking watch Star Wars? The dude cut off his own son's hand. He strangled his pregnant wife. Like,
I guess you're right. I know you're right. I mean, audiences can't handle anything these days, but I don't know. I'm just like, okay, they're fumbling around with all these characters from Star Wars. I like the Boba Fett thing because I always thought, again, I was young when it came out, and there was all this hype about him, and everybody loved him, and I was no different. Not like to the point where I thought he was the best character, but he was definitely underused in the movies in hindsight. Like you're looking for him.
I think he's all the way on that end.
It's just he's so poorly used, and his death scene in Jedi is so terrible. Like, so it was good that they're trying with him, I think. But anyways, okay, so
well, see, I think if they did it if they actually made it into like a gangster. Like, so if the Hutts want to get back Jabba's palace, right? But Boba Fett is taking over like the crime syndicates. That could be really interesting. And I mean, all the people in Hollywood know each other. If you get I'm notorious for hating Martin Scorsese movies because I hate gangster movies. But if you do that, if you go hardcore down the crime route and have Boba Fett just becoming, he's like, I'm sick and tired of being a bounty hunter. I'm going to be a fucking lord of, the crime syndicate, and have him do that and run everything. And like, I don't know, maybe take some inspiration from The Sopranos, which is a show I have never seen, but I've heard it's very good. But if you did something like
1 to 4, seasons 1 to 4,
all of my friends like that. So it's like, and I understand, even though it's not my area of things that I'm interested in. If you did something like that, and again, you could all fucking aliens, bring in all of the bad guys. And I mean, there's plenty of lore that's there for that, but just do that. The Star Wars, like underworld type of, situation.
That's pretty cool.
Which is in all of Star Wars. You have it in the prequels, you have it in the original trilogy, and then you have it in KOTOR, and even in the sequels. Well, not Disney sequels, but if you actually go and read the books and all of that, like with Talon Card and all of that kind of stuff. And heck, they can bring Talon Card into it too, and Mara Jade and all of that. They can do that. I don't think that they will. But if they went that route, and
Yeah.
because I think the problem that they have is that they have to make it for kids or like a family show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can do.
Yeah.
You just have to be very smart about it, and you have to be a very good writer, which I think is severely lacking in the entertainment industry
Well,
now.
you know what? And I talked about this last week on my show. We got into a little bit of a heated argument about, because I'm hard on movies, and my co-hosts are, well, one in particular, she loves everything, and I'm like, credit to you. I wish I was like that. But one of the things, like it drives me nuts is just like, shoehorning all these political things in there.
Yes.
And so her argument was like, she thinks that it's appropriate like to do that these days. And I'm like, listen, it's not, because art should be art. And if you work these things into art, that's fine. But do it with clever writing. Do it so it's seamless, so it fits in with the story. Not like we're just slapping you in the face with a fish and you have to accept it. Like, and that's what drives me up the wall, is that the writing, there's so many hoops, there's so many hurdles that everybody has to clear with this social issue and this and stuff, that the writing, I almost kind of pity some writers, because that must be a tough job right now to artistically thread the needle through all the hoops of bullshit that are, contaminating, I feel, art right now.
Yeah. Well, see, I was in college when all of this stuff was like really in, like, well, I feel like it's probably even worse now, but I remember it was like we had one of was it like writing for animated movies, and I mean, it's not like you have to write a script. It's like, this is what my story would be, and like some like storyboards and whatnot, but you had to like come up with a concept for the movie, and it had to be this percent diversity, this percent women, this percent that. And so I like solving problems. So I'm like, okay, if those are the restrictions that I have, how can I use that as a tool? So it's kind of like, Robert Rodriguez, he talks about how when he filmed his first movie, he's like, every single director should have to film a movie on the tightest budget. So that way you learn how to do these things. Like when you watch Quentin Tarantino talk about Reservoir Dogs and how, important it was for him to get that song, and how he figured out a way to make it work within the budget. And he's like, we're just going to use all of this money that we had, instead of making a soundtrack, to pay for this song. He's like, I wrote this script with this song in mind, and I'm getting that song, and it's going to be in the movie. And so when you work in restrictions, at least me, the way I think, it's like, all right, well, challenge accepted, and I'm going to blow your fucking mind with this. Whereas people in Hollywood, they're like, instead of saying challenge accepted, they're like, we're going to virtue signal. And that's why everything is shit now.
Yeah. It's really getting hard to watch. And there's a big audience for this stuff that are just like, oh, that's very good. Good job. Well done. Well said. Well, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'd rather the creative integrity of the filmmakers and see what they can do and put it in there. Like I said, I'm not saying don't put stuff in there. Put it in there, but do it right. Do it right, and people will eat it up more. But like I said, if you're paintbrushing people in the face, like, I don't know, I don't think the reaction will be what they want anyway. So okay, so we're gonna end this interview off, but we're gonna do it one of two ways. Okay, and I'm gonna let you choose. We could either, and you'll probably have a strong opinion of one or the other, but we could either we could go through each Star Wars film and just touch like a summarization, just a quick synopsis on your end on what you feel about that film, or we can rank them.
Oh God, I hate ranking movies. But I feel like me and Quick are not in the same category.
Well, hey, listen, I got time, but
I guess we can do a little talk about them, because I hate it when people ask me to rank movies, because it's like, I don't know, it's like comparing your children in a way, but at the same time, it's like there's certain scenes in certain movies and I'm like, God, that's such a good fucking scene and it gets overlooked. But it's like, I enjoy watching this movie more, but I'll watch this movie and I'll sit there the entire time just for this scene. Right.
I hear you. It's not easy, but that's why I'm giving it to you. I figure, you know what, this is This is why they pay you the big bucks, Anna.
I wish they did.
Yeah. Well.
Do you want to go in order of prequels or original trilogy?
Okay. Let's start with. Okay, you know what? What do you suggest? You're the master of this. You're the Jedi master of this whole process. Where should we start? 77 or the prequels?
Fuck. No.
Or do you want to get the new ones over with?
We're not even going to talk about those.
Not at all. Oh, come on.
They don't exist.
They don't exist.
They do not exist.
Okay. Well, you know what? Then wait. Let's start with how about Rogue One quickly.
I hate that movie.
Okay. You want to end it at that? Because that's pretty good. That was poignant.
Okay. That movie, the first hour could have been cut out if they would have just put in an opening crawl. This is like in every single movie, it's like, here's a little explanation of what's happening. We're going to set you right into the action instead of all of that shit. It's like Jyn Erso, her parents were, her mother was murdered, her dad was taken, and she's been raised by this dude. And now she's going to go on a mission to find a team to get her father back. And this is what the bad guys are doing. And this is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. And then there you go. We didn't need the whole scene with their childhood. Like the first hour and a half of the movie could have been cut out if you just put an opening crawl. And then people are like, wait, Anna, it's not official Star Wars story. It's like, shut the fuck up. If it's in the Star Wars universe, give it an opening fucking crawl.
Hey,
smallest violin in the world for you and your little problems. I don't enjoy watching Rogue One. And I haven't since I saw it in theaters.
What about the last 40 seconds though?
Okay, see the Darth Vader stuff I like.
Right. I mean that might be the one.
Which is the only reason that movie made $1 billion.
Exactly.
Darth Vader was in it.
Exactly. That might be the best ending to a crap film of all time. Because I mean that ending is like, it's one of the best ever, and that film is so forgettable.
Well, people get mad at me, but I'm like, you don't understand. My theory on this movie I think it would work out more because, can you name me any of the characters?
No.
Nobody cares. It's like,
know.
okay, K2S, the only reason I know Cassian is because he's getting a TV show. I know Jyn because she's the main fucking character. Yeah. I can't remember her dad's name. I think the bad guy's name is Krennic. It's like, if you cut out the first hour of the movie, just do the opening crawl, you have more time to learn about all these people and who they are. I just gave you more time with all of the characters for character development, right?
You're right. This is going to be long, but anyway.
That's what she said.
So, okay.
Yeah, but that movie was saved by Darth Vader.
Oh,
that's
my God.
The only reason that movie made $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was neatly tied up and yeah, just like literally, what was it? Like 1 minute and 20 seconds or maybe a little bit more. All right. Solo.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Got it. Okay, so let's work our way back in the new one. So let's start off with Rise of Skywalker.
I saw that movie one time via a Twitter link.
Oh, really?
I wasn't paying money for that shit. Well, I'm also very good friends with Patchy the Pirate, so I don't want, I'm not giving them my money for anything anymore. Okay. So you mean that jumblefuck catastrophe?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense. That's the best way to describe it. It's a jumblefuck catastrophe that doesn't make any fucking sense.
All right. So we're picking up some time here. This is perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So The Last Jedi. Now, I think you could just point to like 1 million of your posts, but
yeah.
Worst of the series? Worst of them all? I have it last.
It depends on how you define worse. I think that movie makes me the most angry to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best looking of all three of them. I think the audio is, and like the music throughout that movie is the best out of all three. Okay. Definitely without the lens flares in it. I don't like the costumes or the hair in that movie. I'm going to touch on that because I'm a girl. That's one thing that irritated me. It's like, okay, Princess Leia, yeah, she had different costumes in each movie. She had a different look. They literally dressed Rey basically the same fucking way in every single movie. It's like, show show something. I mean, come on.
No, I agree with that. I could say
it didn't look out. It didn't. It's like we're in a galaxy far, far away. Make it look like it's in a galaxy far, far away. She's got the same fucking outfit on every movie, and people are like, "Oh, well, Jedis wear the same thing." She's not a fucking Jedi.
She's not. No. She's
no.
Like, yeah. No. Yeah.
That drove me crazy. That movie. It's just that movie was just pure spite and hate. That's all it is. It's like, let's say fuck everyone. Let's say fuck Star Wars. And let's just make everyone angry. That was Rian Johnson's goal. And let's say fuck you, Mark Hamill, and let's destroy that man's spirit. That movie makes me so angry.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, it would depend on how you define worst, because I feel like out of all the movies, The Rise of Skywalker is probably the worst one on all fronts, but because I don't think that movie was made out of hate. I think that movie was made out of like rushed necessity, whereas The Last Jedi was made out of spite and hate.
Well, part of Rise of Skywalker was made to like somehow rectify the mistakes of The Last Jedi. Like, because it was such a mess. So again, in a different way, I pity the writers because, that's a tough gig, because it was just such a mess. But well, that's different because it's not a series. But anyway, all right, Force Awakens.
Ugh.
Really? I liked it. I like Force Awakens.
When I watched it, before anything else came out, I was like, okay, there's these many things that are wrong with it, but it's all going to get answered later. So that's why I had that hope.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I actually saw that movie so many times because I was like looking for all the little clues, because I'm not one of those Easter egg persons that watches a movie and I'm like, oh, did you see that and that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, me.
I have to watch it multiple times before I see any of those things, because I'm like, I know exactly where the camera wants me to look, so that's like where I'm drawn to.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
And so I don't notice all the little like background things, so I'm not like studying it. Or I don't have a photographic memory. So it's like when I watch it, I'm like, all right, I got to watch it again to go back and see that thing that I missed in that 1 second of a shot from like scene 10. Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm like you.
When I watched it and I was like, okay, well, there's a reason why this girl is on a planet and, just doing nothing with her life but waiting, right? There's a reason. There's a reason why all the Millennium Falcon is there. There's a reason why she knows how to do all of these things that she shouldn't know how to do. Me thinking, well, maybe it's because something happened, and like Kylo Ren obviously knew her. Like when they mentioned a girl, he's like, what girl? And I was like, all right, she's either his sister or his cousin. And the reason why she knows all of this stuff, and this is the reason why Luke and Leia had to be separated when they were babies, was because they had to, hide them from the Emperor and hide them from Vader, because if they were together, they would be able to sense them. So I was like, all right, Kylo Ren lost his shit for whatever fucking reason, apparently because he had a bad dream. All right, and made Luke Skywalker go crazy. So they had to separate Luke and Rey because they don't want Kylo to find them. They don't want Snoke to find them. So I was like, all right, well, I'm a Star Wars fan, so I know what holocrons are. So maybe she has a holocron, or maybe her and Luke are able to communicate from across the galaxy. That's why Luke went into hiding. So he's training Rey from across the galaxy. She has to wait there. That's why she can't leave the planet, even though she's resourceful enough that she probably could have if she wanted to. She has to wait there until it's safe. Han and Leia had to break up to put on this whole charade to make it all believable that, she died or something, and that Luke is off doing his thing. That's the only way it could have been possible, or would have been believable to Kylo, to us, the audience, for any of this to work. So that was me, a Star Wars fan, in my mind. I'm like, oh, this next one's going to be so good. And then I'm watching it. And when, like, I kid you not, like when I was watching Last Jedi after the whole Yo Mama shit, I was like, all right, Luke's here. Luke is here. Thank goodness. And my excuse for the Yo Mama joke at first was like, Disney likes the kids and all of that. Okay, they got to throw in some stupid joke. Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff. And then I'm like, oh my God, Luke's going to have this dramatic monologue. He's going to tell Rey how she's like the chosen one, or she's going to be the one, and explain to her and us, the audience, why everything happened the way that it did, why Han had to distract, Kylo by sacrificing himself so that way Kylo wouldn't sense Rey or something like that, or some shit was going down. And so I was like, it's going to get so good. And then he throws it, and I'm like, all of my hopes, all of my dreams, just
I know.
Anything that they could have done. So when I watch The
Yeah.
Force Awakens, I see all of those missed opportunities, and it drives me crazy because I'm like, you guys have no idea how much money you guys just threw away.
Yeah.
And I'm
But
and all the
at the time, how awesome was the ending of Force Awakens with Luke? Like, I mean, that was like shivers up your spine. That was the whole cliche of like, just
well,
like,
with the music and like the
I
zoom in,
know.
I was pissed that they didn't utilize Luke more in the movie because
Yeah.
I'm just like, to be honest, well, we all know what happens with Carrie, but I'm just like,
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
they're all older. Why would you not utilize them right
Yeah,
now?
I know.
And the fact that we didn't get a scene with all three of them together again, I'm like,
That's ridiculous.
you dumb motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, when you watch Mark Hamill explain how there wasn't that moment with him and Carrie and Harrison, it's like, come on.
Yeah. All right. Phantom Menace.
Well, I mean, I think in theory, I enjoy watching the prequels because I was a kid when they were coming out, so I find enjoyment in them. They're not like the biggest thrillers on the face of the planet, but I mean, the fight, that's fucking epic, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
I think there's a missed opportunity with killing off Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's
And Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, and Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. Both of them. Like,
well, they brought him back, so it's like I'm kind of like, maybe they should have left him dead sometimes. Other times I'm like, that was cool.
yeah.
I think that, did you watch the Clone Wars?
Not all. No, I've seen bits and pieces, but not.
Well, so Darth Maul was part of let me see if I can grab him.
I did see some of that.
Well, so he had a twin, right?
Yeah.
And so if there's twins, they kill the weaker of the two. So I think it would have been cooler if they left Darth Maul dead and just had his brother coming to like avenge him.
Closer. Bring him closer. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would have done, because then it's like, all right, well, what's more noble than somebody trying to avenge, their fallen brother or like, family member. So I thought that would have been interesting concept that, they wanted to bring Darth Maul back. And heck, they could have had Ray Park play him too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we were twins. I'm just yellow instead of red. They could have done that.
Yeah, for sure. Didn't. No.
I know a lot of people don't like midichlorians. I don't really mind them. Maybe it's because I was a kid and like I guess I grew up with it. It does take away a little bit of the magic of like some people have the Force, other people's don't. It's just like a genetic thing, which I guess, I mean, it could still be magical. Who knows?
Yeah.
It depends on how you look at it versus like magic or I guess faith versus science kind of thing. So I think just because I really love George and I have spent a lot of years, like I guess like watching interviews and stuff. So I kind of understand how his mind works and the sentiment behind it, that I like it.
Okay.
Definitely there was parts that kind of dragged. The action figures were awesome. I had all of them. I still have all of them.
Nice.
I liked it. I thought I was a kid, so it's like I didn't mind Jar Jar. If I was an adult, I probably would have been irritated, but I think because I was a kid, like he was the comedic relief, where I think George was going for a little bit more I don't know, I guess
it was just too much. I mean, but hey, listen, I mean, you were the audience, right? He was aiming for kids and you liked it. I mean, that's
yeah.
What are you gonna do? All right. So then what's it? I always get this one confused. Attack of the Clones or the Clone Wars? Which one is Attack of the Clones? Yeah, I always get because the show messes me up.
This is my most controversial topic or opinion, I guess, when it comes to the prequels. I actually like that one the best out of all the prequels.
Really?
Everyone usually is like, that's the one that they hate the most. I actually like that one the most. Maybe. Yes, I'm a girl. Yes, I was like the Anakin and Padme stuff. It's very cringy, but I don't know. I guess I liked it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in that movie that I think is one of the most important scenes in all of Star Wars. And it's the scene where Obi-Wan goes to Geonosis and he gets caught and he's having a conversation with Count Dooku. And Count Dooku, I swear, if this would have been Qui-Gon, maybe another Jedi would have played along. But I was like, Obi-Wan, I love you so much, but you should have fucking played along for like 10 minutes because Count Dooku literally tells him, yo, Dark Lord of the Sith took over everything. Join me. I miss Qui-Gon. I'm having a heart-to-heart with you. this motherfucker took over everything. Join me and we're going to overthrow him. Yes, it's like he's bad. So it's like, okay, Obi-Wan, maybe just listen to his plan and find out who the fuck the Dark Lord of the Sith is, since people have been talking about this since the last movie. Say, yeah, totally, Count Dooku, because you were Qui-Gon's master. I'll come and let's just talk about Qui-Gon for like 20 minutes. Let's go. And you can walk me through your little facility. I'll find out all of the damn plans. But in that all Obi-Wan had to do was play along, and he would have found out everything, because literally Count Dooku tells him everything.
That's a good point. Wow.
About to tell him everything. If go watch that scene, it is so important. And Christopher Lee is just a fantastic actor. Just hands down amazing. And so I think that if Obi-Wan would have just played along, and then when Anakin did show up with Padme, then he could have turned on him. And then, wouldn't have turned on him. He could have just revealed, like, yeah, no, dude, you're a fucking psychopath. I'm not going down the dark side, kind of thing. I was just trying to find out what was going on here, which was his mission in the beginning, but he was too prideful. He would have been able to find out who Darth Sidious was, and revealed everyone, yo, Palpatine's a sick fuck, and he's gonna kill everyone. He's a Dark Lord of the Sith. All of the Jedi would have still had their clones. They could have apprehended Palpatine before he could have executed Order 66. Anakin would have never turned into Darth Vader. And you just watch that scene. It's like, Obi-Wan, you fucking blew it.
Well, yeah. I mean, by story-wise, yes. But obviously, if they did it your way, we would have a lot of loopholes in the original movies.
Well, but it's true. It wouldn't have happened. But that scene, cool, it's like, because what's going to happen in the future, it's like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I mean, it reminds me of, did you ever watch The Big Bang Theory?
I've seen episodes.
Okay. So there's an episode where the guys in it really love Indiana Jones films. And
oh yeah, the one where how he doesn't have to be in the film.
Yeah. Right. And you're like, what the hell? Like, it just like, anyways, there's some smart people out there. So you just got smart there. Not just, but you know what I mean. Anyways, okay, Revenge of the Sith.
I saw that. I remember my dad took me to go see that one in theaters, and so I remember I knew that Anakin was going to become Darth Vader, and Darth Vader is my favorite Star Wars character, so I was ready for it. But then I think the thing that irritates me about that movie so much was Padme, and that's why that movie is not my favorite, because everyone's like, oh, Revenge of the Sith is the best out of the prequels. And I'm like, they destroyed Padme's character in that movie, because all she does is cry and be pregnant. And I'm like, yeah, you were 14 years old, storming a fucking castle, standing up to the Jedi and the Sith. Like, the first movie, it's like, again, she's 14 years old and you're doing all this shit. Second movie, you're a politician. You're in a cage full of fucking monsters and you're climbing up. You don't even worry. You don't even ask Anakin or Obi-Wan for help. I love that about her. She never asked for help. Yeah. Right? Yeah. She's like, no, I'm going to get this shit done. Third movie, I'm pregnant. Anakin, why are you having a nightmare? Anakin, let me stare out a window and cry. And I've been around a lot of pregnant women, right? Because my mom, I've watched her have both of my sisters. All of my friends' moms had babies. I was around a lot of pregnant women. And I'm like, how come Padme isn't getting mad? Like, have you ever heard, like, women that are pregnant, they got mood swings like crazy. They got cravings like crazy. How come Padme isn't snapping at Anakin? How come she's just crying the whole time? And I'm just like, also, Anakin, you're like the most strongest dude with the Force. How can you not sense there's 2 fucking babies in there? And also, okay, again, been around a lot of pregnant women, been around a lot of babies. That was a big ass fucking baby. She had the tiniest little belly. And I'm like, how did you fit both of those things inside of you? And yes, some women are just like, well, Anna, different pregnancy. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I was a teeny tiny little baby. My mom was fucking huge when she was pregnant with me. And you look up pictures with my sisters. And I'm like, I've had friends that have had twins. That's a big ass fucking belly. She had a teeny, even her action figure. Where is this? Right around here somewhere. That's the teeniest little belly. And I was like, yes, I get it. George had only had adopted children until he met Melody and they had their daughter. But that just drove me crazy, because she went from this great, awesome, badass character to this crying pregnant woman. I'm like, have you never around pregnant women.
I agree with you. I remember thinking that when I watched it, I was like, the decline, like, in the first one, she was this like godlike character almost, and then by the end of it, she was just like this pregnant girl. Like that's
it just like they just destroyed her, and I really liked Padme.
Yeah.
And so it just drove me crazy because I could have understood if, well, yeah, she's crying because she just found out that the dude that she was in love with like just killed everyone. But I'm like, bitch, he kind of killed an entire village of people and you still fucked him after and married him. So I don't think the killing of children is anything new to you, but I mean, maybe strangling you and I could have gotten it if she just showed up and went off on him and was like, you fucking asshole, you just destroyed everything, and just like had her pregnant like rant, and then he was mad, so he strangled her out of like anger as compared to like her crying. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I could just understand that, and Anakin like just snapping at her as compared, well, he thought she betrayed him, but still, I'm just like, that's not Padme. That wasn't Padme. They kind of destroyed her character in that movie. So it really makes me angry when I watch it, because I'm like, character that I really liked, and they kind of just sidelined her because she was pregnant. And it's like, if you ever read the expanded universe novels, all the shit that Leia gets done when she's pregnant, right? Yeah. And it's like, just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you're useless and you turn into this crying, sobbing person. And when Palpatine is saying, oh yeah, we're going to turn this into the first galactic empire, why the fuck doesn't Padme stand up and be like, no, homeboy? It's like she had enough strength to stand up to him when she was, or to Chancellor Valorum when she was 14. But now what? She's 20 something and she's got 2 kids. Well, how the fuck did she also not know that there was 2 kids on the way? You got to have so much shit going on nowadays when you're pregnant. It's like, you got 2 babies. You never found out you're pregnant. You never went to the doctors once. You can't feel the kicking coming from both ends unless your kid is doing like spread eagle kicking you on, but like, just come on.
Not to mention the doctor technology. It looks like
Robot Chicken said it the best. It's like billions of dollars of technology and you're losing the will to live.
Yeah.
It's like, that's another thing. I'm like, you just gave birth to 2 very fucking good reasons to live. So now you want me to believe Padme's a bad mother? What the fuck? It's like, chick. Yeah. You were able to, rule an entire fucking planet basically, and, go through all of that hell. But now you just found out that your baby daddy is a psychopath murderer, and you're just going to die and leave your kids with nothing but their psychopath dad? What a terrible mother. It's like, if anything, you got a very strong will to live because you need to keep your baby safe. It's like they destroyed her character. Yeah. And now there was that theory that Palpatine was sucking her life force out to like give to Anakin. And I was like, okay, that I can live with. And that kind of restores it because she wanted to live, like stole her life force. I was like, okay, that's a fan theory. I'm just going to go with canon or else it's just going to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Revenge of the Sith kills Padme's character and makes me very angry.
All right. So that was,
aside from that, I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
And I could go on for another like couple hours on the things that I did like about it, but that was like my problems with it.
It's okay. I think you stuck to the rules of just keeping it within a couple of sentences, I think.
Yeah, I'm not good at like short stories. When I was in school, they're like, all right, and everyone's giving us a short story and it's turning in a novel. Right?
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm just bugging you. It's awesome. The passion's there. That's all that matters. Okay. So Return of the Jedi.
You have to be able to talk about something you can talk about for 10 hours.
Exactly. Okay? Exactly. Return of the Jedi.
Why are we going to Return to the Jedi? Why are we...
Well, I figured we end with Star Wars.
Wouldn't you go with A New Hope, then Empire, then Return of the
Jedi? Are you hosting the show now?
All right, Return of the Jedi.
No, I'm just joking. Okay. A New Hope.
Okay, A New Hope. Well, that obviously was the first one I saw. It touched my heart and my soul. It's a fantastic movie. It's a good, I think, because he wasn't sure if they were going to make more. It's a good, like it is a whole story in and of itself. And if it ended on that, like us wanting more, because Luke is going to go on an adventure and we don't get to see it, I think George was very aware. He wasn't sure if it was going to make money or not. So I like that it is that complete story with that open ending.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I like it. It touches my soul and my heart because
there's such a simplicity to the first one. To New Hope. Like there's such a simplicity to it when you watch it, like, and you're like, you love it for that. But then you're part of me is like, wow, how did this film just blow up? Like there's when you watch it, there's not a lot that happens, but it was all fun. It was all great. Like, like, I mean, I had the Star Wars sheets when I was a kid and stuff like that. It was all, so like, I'm all on board. I love it. I love it to death. But like, when you watch it, you're like, wow, this really just birthed like this universe. Right. And sometimes it's kind of hard to like, I mean, they spent like 10 minutes in like a garbage dump, right? Like, I mean, it was like, that was the budget.
Like everything added together, like even like a scene, like them getting stuck in the garbage thing. It was, the opposite to Star Trek, where it was like the lived in universe and everything was utilized. It's like, well, what happens when you're trying to escape and the only way is to go down the garbage chute, and then you get there and it's in a galaxy far, far away. Why aren't there monsters in the trash, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
No,
and I remember, so my dad, I think he graduated high school in 75. So 77, he must have been in like college or something. And I remember my dad and my mom, when they talked about it, they're like, yes, never seen anything like it before. And my dad was telling me, he's like, yeah, one of my friends called me up and he's like, yo, Tony, you got to go see this Star Wars movie. And my dad's a huge nerd. So my dad, saw it and he's like, oh, like this. He's like, it changed everything.
Yeah.
You go and you see this movie and it's like, they've never seen anything like it. I mean, George Lucas like really honed in on special effects and all of that. And so when Empire Strikes Back was coming out, they're like,
yeah,
what's new? What are we going to see now?
All right. So let's go to Empire Strikes Back.
That is my favorite Star Wars movie.
All right. Me too.
A lot of people like it.
I think so. I think it's the universally, agreed upon, not, for everybody, but, it's a safe bet, but for a reason. It's awesome.
So why is it your favorite? Can I ask you?
Why? Okay. So, yeah. Well, thanks. I loved the snow, like Koth. Like I love that aesthetically. Like I'm like all about settings in movies. So aesthetically, that was awesome. It came out when I was alive, and it came out when I was like, really, 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 really tiny. So like, having like older brothers, cousins, and all that kind of stuff, just like being completely into Star Wars, like, knee deep at that point, neck deep. It was in my world, like, like I said, Star Wars sheets. It was like, so I couldn't not like it, so then when you see it at a certain age, it was just, that's the one, like, the just, the wampa, the like, the whole, it was all like, it was so like, it was when like Luke, when Han throws Luke inside what are they called again?
Wonton.
Yes, that was huge. Okay, there's a little nice wampa. Although I do have an issue with the wampa, I'll get to that in a second. But like, that was just like, everybody would talk about it. Kids would talk about that, like when Luke gets stuffed in the insides, and it was just like, as a kid, right? That was like, so visceral and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of cool. So it was the right time for me. And I love the battle scenes. I love the story. I think the cinematography when Darth and Luke are like, facing off is like, it's amazing, right? Like everything, just, the introduction of Lando and Boba Fett, and it to me, it's like the crown and jewel, like, for a lot of reasons. I will say one bad thing about it, and I love the, like, let's
hear this.
Okay, no, this is my only knock on this movie is it's a small one. I love the wampa, and I love that scene. I just wish
blood.
I wish it was directed a little bit better. I wish it was like, with
that, I think it might be the limitations and special
for
effects.
Sure. 100%. I'm like, listen, I'm not ripping on the production. It was done like that for a reason. It was limitations, 100%. But if they could just go back and just make that a little bit of a battle scene, and a little bit more of like, because it was such a cool character. It was such a creepy thing. You're frozen to the roof, and this thing's about to eat you. And like,
my thing is like, how did he get him frozen to the ceiling?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if does he have like Spider-Man kind of like he shoots.
That was my question of it, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have the mystery there.
Yeah, that's
Some
a good
things it's like,
point.
yeah, I could go look into the science of it, but other times I'm like, you know what, sometimes I don't need to see, the guy behind the curtain. Sometimes
Exactly.
I just
Yeah,
want
and
to leave it up to mystery.
the oh my god, I'm really losing my Star Wars card here, but the AT-ATs, the
AT-AT. People
AT-AT.
say this is people the debate between at or AT-AT. I'm like, it's R2D2 C3PO AT-AT.
Okay, fair enough. When I was in
That's my
school, no,
argument.
and that's good. I prefer AT-AT. But like when I was in school, like everybody called them everything, right? So
Yeah.
like again, I was at that age, right? So I kind of grew up with both, and it confused me. Obviously, those things were amazing. The toys, like they came out when I was a kid. Like you got to understand. So that that's why I love that. And you?
So my favorite stories are stories about friendship, because it's one thing to have like a sibling or a parent or somebody that's related to you by blood that they, or through marriage, they kind of have to take care of you and love you and be there for you because they're your family, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody that has no connection to you outside of the fact that they just like you and that they're willing to go and potentially die for you, I find that kind of stuff incredible. And I think friendship is one of the most purest and beautiful forms of love to exist. And so there's different forms of friendship in that movie. And specifically, the friendship between Han and Luke. Because when I first watched Star Wars, I didn't really like Han because he was like the bad
He's a
boy. And
jerk.
so I was one of those kids that I was like a stickler for. I think all rules are meant to be broken. And so I'm all about getting away with it and nobody ever finding out that I broke the rules. So when somebody is deliberately breaking them, it drives me crazy. So I'm like, no, you gotta be sneaky, fucker. We're gonna get caught, kind of thing. I think it's an older sibling thing in me. But so when, obviously Han and Leia are having their thing, which I love that Leia has an arc in that movie too, which apparently I had this conversation with a few people and I'm like, how did you not know that Leia didn't have an arc, or that Leia did have an arc? People, I guess, overlook it. But so right off the bat, we have Luke is missing. Who goes out to get him? Han. And they're like, Han, your tauntaun's gonna freeze before you hit the first marker. And he's like, well, then, I'll see you in hell, kind of thing. And he goes out, risks his life. He doesn't even know if he's gonna find Luke. He knows his tauntaun's gonna freeze, that the tauntaun's not coming back. He's potentially gonna die. Luke probably already is dead, and he still goes out there to save Luke, and he does save Luke. And yeah, he shoves Luke in a tauntaun to fucking save his friend, right? And so established right out, and he's not even mad at Luke when Leia kisses him, because we all know that was for, that was for to make him jealous and all of that. And the whole movie, Han is just trying to, tell everyone knows that Leia's into him. We knew that from the first damn movie. You can tell. But it's like he's trying to get Leia to come to terms with her feelings, and she's got very closed off because she lost her whole planet. She's in the middle of a war, and it's like, Leia, you need to come to terms with feelings. But so then this, I think, is what drove me fucking crazy in Disney sequel trilogy, fan fiction trilogy. It's like, okay, they go on their own separate ways, obviously, because they have to escape separately. And Luke's got to go to Dagobah. Han's got to go, get Leia and Chewie and everyone to safety, right? And so when Luke's on Dagobah and he's training, all he's ever wanted to do ever since he found out about it was to become a Jedi, right? So he's training with Yoda, which is epic in and of itself.
Yeah.
But then in the middle of his training, when all the shit happens with Han and Leia, he senses that something's happening to Han. He's like, they're in pain because Han's getting tortured by Darth Vader. And the thing that Luke wants more than anything in the world is to be a Jedi. And he leaves to go save his best friend. And it's like, he can feel Han in pain from across the galaxy. So you're telling me he couldn't sense that Han was dead in the fucking, Force Awakens? He had to find out from Rey that Han died? Bull fucking shit. He could tell that Han had a fucking splinter. And that was before he was even a Jedi Master. So you're telling me Luke, middle-aged Luke, that has the training of a fucking lifetime behind him, can't sense that Han Solo is dead? Give me a fucking break. So when I'm watching that movie, and it's like, could you imagine you're right there, maybe a few training sessions away from getting your dream job, or the thing that you want most in your entire life. And you just like, no, fuck that. My friend needs me. I got to go. And so he goes to go save Han, just like in the very beginning of the movie, Han saved him. And so he goes to go save Han and Leia. He doesn't get there in time. And, you know, Leia's like, yo, shit, that's a fucking trap, obviously. And then he goes and faces Vader. And then he's full of like that anger and like his father, Anakin. And he faces off with Darth Vader. And it was spoiled for me. My aunt, you know, told me that Darth Vader was his father. I didn't believe her.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching that scene and then Darth Vader, you know, Luke's gonna go fight him and he's like, you fucked you blew up Leia's planet, you killed Obi-Wan, and he's like, I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna fucking fight and we're gonna have it out. And he knows that he's probably gonna die because he didn't finish his training because he showed up to come save his friends, which he wasn't successful at. And then Darth Vader drops that fucking bomb and it's like his entire life, like the rug just got pulled out from under him and he's like, what the fuck? And so he's got to reevaluate his entire life. And that's the only reason he survived was because of Darth Vader. And that's, you get to see almost every, I guess, the three most important forms of love, which is the love of friendship, the romantic love, and then the love between family, which is, you know, with Darth Vader and Luke, you have Han and Leia, and then you have Han and Luke. And so I think that movie illustrates it in a very good way between the three different types and, you know, the dynamics between each of them. And so I think that's probably why it resonates with so many people, is because even if we don't experience one of the three, I think everyone's experienced at least two of the three. And so we can all relate to that movie on different levels.
Wow. So, I mean, you put it so nice and romantically, and my reasoning was because I had the sheets.
I had the sheets too.
Okay.
I got them all hand-me-down from my brother. So
it's okay. But yeah, okay. Well, I think your reason was maybe a little bit more romantic, like I said. But anyway, awesome film. All right. So lastly, Return of the Jedi. You made me not, you know, made me do this one last. So I'm expecting something big here.
Okay. So there's a scene in that movie that I think is probably the most important scene in all of Star Wars. And it's not an epic fight scene or anything like that. Those are cool and everything. But so again, Darth Vader is my favorite character. So I am going to gravitate towards scenes with him. So Leia's already had her, she's come to terms with her love for Han, and they got to do their thing. Luke, we know that he's going to complete everything in the final battle, and he's the good guy, and he's going to save the day. We all know that, right? Okay, so what about Darth Vader? Obviously, there's something that changes. Now, if you watched Empire Strikes Back, you know that Luke's going to save the day, because in that scene where Vader reveals that he is Luke's father, he says, son, you know, join me and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. He has no regard for the Emperor, none. And he, even when you watch Revenge of the Sith and he tells Padme, he's just like, I'm strong, I can overthrow the Emperor, we can rule the galaxy together with our kid. And she's like, no, you fucking psycho, which she was in every right to do. But we know, even though the Emperor has basically been Anakin's father figure, because, and that's, you know, I think why he was so easily manipulated by him, because that dude, from the moment he met him, Palpatine's like, this kid's strong in the Force, I'm gonna fucking utilize him. And he's been Anakin's biggest cheerleader from day one. But Anakin's loyalty is to the people that he loves. And so even though he has that father figure, there isn't that love there that he had with Padme. And then he didn't even know Luke, but he's like, that is my son. I want to rule the galaxy with my family. And the Emperor is not his family. And so when he reveals that to Luke, because I saw the movies before the prequels came out. So when I was watching that, and then we have the scene in Return of the Jedi, which it's like that scene just reveals the whole what's going to happen in the rest of the movie, but it also shows the tragedy of, you know, Anakin's character. And so, because when he talks to Luke in Empire Strikes Back, he's still Darth Vader. He's not speaking as Anakin. He's speaking as Darth Vader, I want to rule the galaxy. And then when they're on Endor, before he takes him up to the Death Star, the second Death Star, they have that conversation in that little corridor before the awkward elevator scene, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, he's like, you know, you built your lightsaber, your training is now complete. And Luke, you know, says, you know, like, Dad, you know, you're not going to take me before the Emperor. I know that they're still good in you. And he says, it's too late for me, son. And in that one line, you'll like this, because you know, you like scripts and dialogue and all of that. In that one line, that's him admitting that he knows everything he's done is wrong, that he has regret for everything. But it's too late for him. He can't go. He's gone too far that he can't go back. And that's the first time we hear Anakin speak to Luke.
Wow.
And so that whole scene, I think it's probably my favorite in all of Star Wars, because Darth Vader is my favorite character.
Yeah.
And so we already know that he knows it's too late for him. He's going to fight Luke, but he's not going to hurt his son.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so when he goes up to the Emperor and all of that happens, it's like when he's watching his son die, you know that he's not going to let his kid die. He's going to sacrifice himself to save his son because he loves him and he knows everything he did is wrong. And Anakin is a good person.
Yeah.
Padme had that right. You know, there's still good in him and he's not going to let his son die. So.
Very well said. Very well said. Wow. See that? Brie Larson, she's not just all full of piss and vinegar. She's got a heart too. Because I'm sure she's watching this show.
Totally.
But I hate the Ewoks. Sorry.
They're so cute.
I know. I don't know. Maybe it's the guy in me, but I don't know. They're just like.
You know what's funny? I've never met a girl that doesn't like an Ewok, and I've met plenty of guys that do.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. Again, growing up at that time, they were iconic. They were like, they just were a little bit goofy for me, but I could watch it. It's so
funny when like they think C-3PO is a god and they're like pray.
Look, there's some
so funny.
Okay, so you're right. Okay, so there's some comedic parts in there. There's some. I just feel that the role of the Ewok was too big in that film. How's that? I think if it was minimized a little bit to some comedic value, maybe some I
think if more of them would have died, because I don't think it made very much sense that so many of them lived against the. Or if they would have pulled they're all cute and cuddly, and then do you know what a drop bear is?
No, but I'm assuming it means they go.
It's an Australian
to something
thing,
else.
So it's like they have koalas, but then there's this legend of the drop bear. It's basically a vicious koala, so it's just like a koala that's photoshopped with fangs. If they would have done, they're all cute, and then all of a sudden they're like all scary.
Razors come out like Wolverines, and stuff like that, and then they start
I didn't think it made much sense that they because you have the one where the one dies and it makes me cry actually when I watch it. It's like, pushing its friend died.
More should have been dead, but anyways, okay.
Yeah,
I understand.
I think though, to keep it in a rating that it could be available for all ages, couldn't.
Especially in 83, at that point, the Spielberg era and stuff like that, it was all about a cartoon came from it, right? It was all about it was all about being Saturday morning cartoony and family friendly, and Ewoks
I like the idea of it, and I like Ewoks. I don't mind them, so it's I can watch that and find the humor in it, and also because it is that funny thing, this little tribe of bear people outwitted Han Solo.
Yeah, I guess there's two ways of looking at it. One is all these awesome characters like Han, Luke, Darth, they're all busting their butts to for world supremacy, and these little guys are just kung fu ninjas, kind of just chewing on their shins and taking them down. It's just that. Anyways, listen, it's not
traps and stuff. I think it's cute.
You know what? At the end of the day, it's not for me, but I still enjoy the film, right? It's the Return of the Jedi is definitely up there for me as one of my favorites. But a distant to, I would say, Empire and the first Star Wars, New Hope. But
I feel like the biggest complaint I had was my boy Han got gypped. He was blinded. Every other dude got to, ogle Princess Leia in her gold bikini, and Han was blinded. He doesn't even get to enjoy that. I'm that's his girl.
That's true. That's a good point. Wow. I wonder if Harrison Ford has even thought of that.
Well, he obviously got to see it,
No, well, I'm just thinking that's a funny point you bring up. I've never realized.
Could you imagine your girl in the slave bikini, after he's all,
I know.
Princess Leia always looks great, but that's a very iconic thing. Her brother got to look at her, but Han didn't. I was like, poor dude. I'd be pissed if all of a sudden his vision comes back and Leia's already changed on the ship and he's like, what was this? And she's like, I had that on for the past day and a half. And he's like, what? What do you mean?
maybe she saved it, maybe after Jedi there was some honeymoon moments,
Yeah.
and she's like, let's do some role play. He wouldn't know
Well,
why.
then good for Han.
Yeah,
But I
well,
always felt bad for him when I was watching the movie. I was like, boy got gypped.
that's funny that you would actually even pick that out. I never, it goes to show what a fan you are, that you're noticing these little things like that, but that's awesome. Well, honestly, this has been a fun conversation with you. You're very easy to talk to about this. Obviously, you could talk for hours about it.
I can.
Yeah. Well, listen, we'll do something like this again. But thank you so much for being on the show.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me on. It was fun.
Yeah. Cool. So you will post all your links below. Not that you need my help for your channel, but whatever. Gotta do my part. Gotta help out my guests if I can. Not when I can, if I can. But again, thank you, and we'll talk some more soon.
Sounds good.
We are here with Lee Howard, artist, writer. You've got the kind of some funky titles we could throw to you too, because you got a lot of things going on, and we're going to talk about them. But first off, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing that struck me with you was some of the paintings I would see on your Instagram, and a lot of them were horror based, but not all. You have a lot of different things, but let's start off with a little bit of the horror. Like what inspires you with your art in the horror genre?
I mean, I've always loved horror since I was a kid. Since I was very little, I grew up just outside of Toronto. You're from Toronto too?
I am.
Yes, from Durham region.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's basically where I am.
Oh my God. Oh, that's amazing. Wait.
Like right near Pickering.
Oh my God. Okay, that's crazy. Yeah. I grew up in Oshawa, so I'm a little bit out of Durham right now, but what are the odds?
Holy crap. And where are you now?
I'm just outside of Durham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Still ish in the area, but I'm a little outside of Durham now.
Nice.
So yeah.
So we gotta have beers after this.
Canadians, yeah. So yes, back watching the hilarious House of Frightenstein, which I'm sure you of course remember. I love monsters since I was a kid, and I was just always into art. Art was like the only subject I ever got 100% in school. The rest were a little. So I've always drawn monsters and stuff like that, and I'm a painter now. I'm a full-time artist now, and any of the stuff that I do for myself is usually a horror based. Sometimes people will be like, "Can you paint my grandparents?" or "Can you paint my dog?" And sure, I would do that. But for the most part, I like to stick to horror just because it's what I love.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your favorite horror icons or films to kind of tackle in your art?
I mean, like all of them, but just it seems like it would be interesting to paint. I want to do that. Just in horror in general, my favorite is I'm an Elm Street guy. I'm an Elm Street kid at heart. But I mean, I love all horror. It's so hard to, people are like, "What's your favorite horror movie?" And you're like, "Do you have 5 hours?" I can't pick one.
It's tough. Yeah.
So I like, it's almost like whatever mood strikes that day. Like I feel like painting Freddy or it depends on if it's a job, of course, which I like.
Yeah. Okay, so I also want to talk a little bit about this fast food series that you have. Okay, so how did that come about? What is it? I guess we could explain it and discuss how it came about.
So 10 years-ish ago, I also grew up, of course, loving like Count Chocula and Frankenberry and stuff like that. Sorry, I had to get my cat out of the room. I just one day was like, I want to paint like horror versions of the breakfast cereal guys.
Yeah.
So I did like 14 different ones, with like Toucan Sam and Tony the Tiger, Lucky Charms, all these guys. And that was like 10 years ago. And I hadn't really done anything with them since. I sell prints and stuff like that in my shop. But then along comes TikTok. And, you need content to post. And I just did a video that showed all of the breakfast cereal guys. It's like, here's the original, here's mine. And it like went bonkers viral.
Really?
Which was great.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of wanted to re-enter that, and I'm like, maybe I'll do fast food monsters now. So I got a couple of them just off to the side here.
Yeah.
So for example, like Ronald McDonald is one, and there's a whole backstory behind them, like Burger King, who's holding the head of the early bird there.
That's awesome.
I have to pose for my own pictures too, so that's my face. And like there's Grimace.
That's awesome.
And Mayor McCheese. Oh, hi, buddy.
There's your cat.
Geez Louise. Cats. So yeah,
That's
I have a whole series of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 of them. I just posted the Coke and Pepsi monsters.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty. They're awesome. It's such a cool idea.
Yeah, and they're doing really well, which again, for like a dude who's a full-time artist, it's great because then people want to buy art prints and stuff like that. And so yeah, I'm really lucky that there's so many other people that like monsters and weird things and stuff too. Yeah,
well, I think it's a cool, because people love when you put spins on things that they love, right? They love that. And a cartoon that's done like as a rated R version is always going to be like, oh, that's awesome. That is so cool, right? Yeah. But just you do more. You did Jack in the Box and all that stuff. I saw them and I was like, wow, this is a really, really cool idea. Is there any kind of way that you can, like, first of all, is there any kind of like copyright infringements that you'd have to battle with this, or is it like?
No, I mean, there's, if it ever came, if the McDonald's Corporation was ever like, okay, Bruce Wayne, this is a little much. If they were ever like, hey, stop doing this, it's like, I could change the names, to like Ronald, the King, Jack, Wendy, so it's not really a problem. There's like, a fine line between like parody and artistic interpretation. Yeah. I mean, that's why, like there's so many adult movies that are like, a Justice League porn parody, and they're using Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and not getting sued because it's parody. So far so good. I've not been slapped with any kind of.
Because I'm thinking toy lines here. I'm thinking these things would sell.
I keep getting people are like, make a comic, make a graphic novel, and I'm like, I wish I had the time. Like maybe one day I will, but maybe one day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's in your back pocket right now. And I really dug it. I thought that was pretty cool. So with social media, how's social media helped you grow your artistic brand?
Greatly. Back in the day, when I used to have to work like a job and do my art on the side, like back then it was like Facebook pages, like fan pages were like useful, not so much now at all.
Oh, I know.
But it's, and then it's also, I'd like start posting more on Instagram, and that, helps a bit. Instagram isn't as good as it used to be as well. But now TikTok is obviously quite big. And it's great. I mean, I've discovered a lot of other really good artists on TikTok. So it's a really good platform for artists to showcase their work. And again, it's because of TikTok that I'm able to actually survive off of art between the paintings and the other art that I do.
Really?
So it's so important. It's a bittersweet because social media sucks sometimes.
No, it's true. I hear you. I hear you with that. Like, you kind of love it for what it can give you and some of the cool benefits, but man, it could just suck you dry some days.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So that's cool. So TikTok, so TikTok's the one that's really kind of blown.
I have 2 TikToks. I have one for my art and the paintings, like the fast food monsters and just all the other art that I do. And then I have one for the Quiet Room Bears, just 'cause I thought it would make more sense to just separate them. And it's the Quiet Room Bears TikTok is like 1.1 million followers right now.
That's
thanks
amazing.
to like a couple really like gigantic viral videos, and then the art one is like 750,000 followers right now. So it's amazing. It's handy. I mean, it just opens it up to a lot of potential customers out there.
Are you making any money off the sheer numbers of followers, or is it just through sales?
Yeah, just through like sales. I think I know that they had that like creator fund or something, but I think that was only for creators in the States.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that doesn't
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, but still, it's getting your stuff out there. I mean, what, you got
Absolutely.
1.1 million, did you say? Or
Yeah, something like
that's
that. Yeah. It's
that's
great.
yeah, those are big boy numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
So
great.
so it's sustaining you right now. Like your art is basically paying the bills. I mean, that's the dream,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's literally I mean I have days where I get so busy and then I'm frustrated and like we all do. And then it kind of hit me like, holy shit, I'm like actually living my dream, like I
Yeah.
see old Facebook memories where, I was working in like shitty warehouses and stuff, and I was, on Facebook because why would I be working?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I fucking just wish I could like be making art for a living. Like, oh God. And it's like, you did it, kid. You
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah, good. Congrats.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, and there's the, that's the thing. Like, there could be such a cynical tone with social media, but let's face it. I mean, it's giving you everything right now, like as far
Absolutely,
as a
yeah.
career, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And yeah, so I'm just fascinated with TikTok. It just seemed like it kind of came out of nowhere, but maybe it's just because I'm like old and I'm slow to catch on to things or something like that. But like, for the
Yeah.
longest time it was just Facebook
Yeah.
and then like, Instagram really started going. But you said now Instagram has really kind of not been too beneficial to you.
It's hard. It's really like up and down, to be honest. Like sometimes I'll post things and it gets like just a picture and it'll get great response and
Yeah.
comments and likes and shares and stuff. And then sometimes, I mean, I guess TikTok's like this a little bit right now too. It's like these companies change the algorithms or something
Yeah.
at the time, so it's hard to know when, oh, if I post on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., that does really good. And it changes all the time, right? So yeah, Instagram is still good, but it's not.
You've
It's
noticed that TikTok is the one
it's
that
hard to reach. Yeah, it's hard to reach your audience, and even TikTok, I'm going through a little bit of that right now. But it's still pretty good.
And I mean, let's face it, we could talk in 2 years and TikTok will be the one that, is passe. And, that's kind of the way it goes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk quiet room bears.
Yes.
Okay. So right there we have one. Okay.
This is the first one.
That's the first one.
Yes. I made it 20 years ago this October, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So what the quiet room bears are is that they're all individually numbered, one of a kind art pieces. And I've never recreated the same one exactly the same in all these years. The first one was just to bring to a Halloween party. My brother and his wife were having this themed party, which was Rosemary's baby shower. And they had this like little demon baby in a crib, and they were going to do a contest of, whoever brought the best present for the baby wins a prize. And I'm like, well, every baby needs a teddy bear. So like the son of Satan needs a teddy bear that looks like this.
Exactly.
They ended up not doing the contest, but I brought it anyway. And people were like, what the fuck is that? And it got such a good reaction. I was like, maybe I should make more of these, and maybe I should do them, like switch them up and make them a little bit different each time. And I made a couple more and just sold them on eBay as like weird, scary teddy bear for like, I didn't have the name or the numbering for them yet. And then just several years went by. I didn't do anything with them. And then for whatever reason that I don't remember, I was like, I'm going to make those bears again. And came up with the name Quiet Room Bears. And the Quiet Room is from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where the kids are in the institution and they get put in the quiet room.
Yeah.
And all the bears have like session numbers, which comes from Session 9, which is one of my favorite horror movies. Yeah.
Okay,
I love Session 9. So yeah, I've at this point have made like well over 500 bears or so.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all
wow.
Some of them sometimes of course now it's not going to do it. Some of them move sometimes and crawl. Ready for adventure. Crawl for them. I'm a little brown bear.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so some of them move, some of them are really, really big, but otherwise they're more just like art pieces and stuff. But
okay.
Yeah.
So do you go out and like look for bears and then modify?
Yeah.
What's the process? Okay, so do you draw them up? Do you conceive them? How does it go from your brain to what we see right there?
When I first started, I used to do like sketches first, like what I think would work and stuff. And I just kind of think of like what would be like kind of just fucking weird to look at, and then that. Because my goal has always been like just to weird people out. Like if people look at them and they're like, oh, they're so cute, I'm like, I didn't do my job. So yeah, now I just like, I've done so many, I'll literally like, I'll buy bears either secondhand or firsthand, like in just Walmarts and stuff like that. And then, you know, a lot of the pieces I'll make like the gums and teeth and stuff I'll sculpt.
Oh wow.
On them. And you know, so I'll buy a lot of stuff online in stores, whatever I just think will work well with the bears.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I'm at the point now where I can just pick up a teddy bear and be like, okay, you need human teeth in your stomach, you need half your face gone, and you need like 25 Barbie legs pouring out of your back. Like I'll just know what to do.
That is awesome. And so okay, so you get a bear. Okay, so for example, the teeth. Okay, so you sculpt them. And
the teeth I'll buy. You can buy like bulk teeth.
Yeah, of course.
Which is always great when you know you get a bunch of teeth in the mail. But the gums and stuff, I'll sculpt all them and then repaint them and stuff like that.
Okay, and then how do you adhere them to the bear?
Just different, like a lot of stuff is hand stitched, paint, just different. Like glues, super glues and stuff like that. It's like whatever is gonna like seal it into the bear best.
Yeah, exactly right. You're like all around artist, man. You got like this is like, you know, you go from art, I mean like just typical art of painting and sketching and stuff like that to this. I mean that's... yeah
these take so long to make too that they've like, I used to take like commissions painting people's dogs and stuff like that, but it's like the bears take weeks from start to finish, because I mean even just like when I complete the bears, then I have to like take, you know, photos of them all and then edit the photos. And the bears are shipped in bloody burlap bags with bloody envelopes full of like you know, signed cards and the story of the bear. So it's an experience when you get it. So you
put a story for the bear. That okay, Lee, this is pretty cool stuff right here.
Yeah. It's like I don't want people to feel like they're buying just you know, a product. It's like a whole experience when they buy them.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So it takes a super long time to make them, but I mean, hey, I'm making art full time, so I can.
Exactly. And so okay, so and you said there's not one the same.
No, there'll be some that are for sure similar. I mean, there's really only so many combinations of like human teeth and fingers and ears and Barbie pieces that you can jam into these bears. But I try my best not to I don't want the same bear, because that way too, it's like if somebody buys one, they know that they really have like a one-of-a-kind piece.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Right?
They're always like, of course, these are the old ones. They don't they have their numbers in their back. So if it's like session 425, they'll know that that's like a one-of-a-kind piece.
That is wicked.
Yeah.
So okay, so have you ever gotten like attached to one, like where that's not going anywhere?
Just the first one.
Just the first one.
Yeah. Just the first. I'm like, I can't sell the first one. Every other one is gone and lives.
Guys, can you put them close to the camera again? Let me see. What's this dude's name? Or
so this is just session one.
Just session one. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So they're all. I never wanted to name them like Ralph the Bear, because that's shit. So just to tie into the backstory of like what the quiet room is and the sessions when these inmates go into the room. The room itself is like, it's kind of like if you condense the Hotel of the Shining into one room, it's like one bad place that has influence over everyone in the hospital. So like the doctors would put inmates in the room for a session, and the room would start like getting in their heads and whispering in their heads and like telling them to like, now like stick a knife in your mouth and pull your teeth out and put it in this bear. And then these inmates would just like barf their blood and madness into a bear and make a new session. And then when these bears get out into like the world outside of the hospital, it's like people just want them. It's like the box in Hellraiser. It's like people want them, but they don't know why they want them. And then when they finally get one, it's like it slowly starts to drive you mad, either over like a day or 30 years. Like your life will just unravel. And at the end of your life, you're going to find a new teddy bear and start hacking yourself to pieces and sewing it in so someone else will eventually find that bear. It's like a pyramid scheme of people.
Yeah. Wow, well thought. Have you had a meeting with Charles Band of Full Moon yet, or what?
Not so much, not yet.
No? This seems like right up their alley, man.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. It's very like people are like, you know, do the bears move? And I'm like, no. It's not like Chucky or whatever. They just drive you mad and make you like cut your face off and shit.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
That's it. So okay, what I imagine like the overhead for making one of these is kind of a lot, right? Is it, or am I wrong
It
on that?
depends on what's going into them, because it's like I'll buy sometimes a lot of like taxidermy supplies, like jaw sets and stuff like that, and sometimes that stuff can be pretty pricey.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the some of the materials can be pricey, but some of them are pretty cheap. Like I mean, especially right now, Halloween season, I'm just going like ham at like Spirit Halloween and
Yeah, yeah,
and Party City and stuff, buying out like every bag of human fingers they have, so I can stock up for the year. Because
for sure.
I used to only make, I don't know, maybe 10 of these every few months or so. But
Mm-hmm.
since they've gotten so popular, and I have a Patreon, and a couple of the tiers on Patreon is like there's early access to buy a bear before the public, because they sell out in like 10 minutes, under 10 minutes. Like
That's
they're
awesome.
gone as soon as I post them.
That's amazing.
So yeah, right now I'm hoarding all the Halloween stores and just buying all the body parts and stuff that that I think I might need throughout the year.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Okay, so I mean, it sounds like a labor of love. So, but if there was like a company that was interested in like mass producing them, is that something you'd love, or is it a little bit more, you kind of want to keep it personal?
It's hard. I've actually thought about that a lot. Like someone brought that up, like what if like Living Dead dolls or like Mezco or someone wanted to do that, and it's hard to say, because like that artist part of me is like, no, they have to be like one of a kind, individually numbered art pieces, because that way they're special.
Yeah.
But I have no idea if Mezco is like, here's a giant check that is huge. Then maybe it would depend on how much that would be versus how much I can make on my own. Not that it's like art shouldn't be about money, but we have a house to
for sure
put bills on. So it's possible. I would never rule it out. I would just that would be a conversation I would like to have.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
Good decision to have to make, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If I listen, I'm not advising you, but this is what I would do. I would take the check, depending on how the size of it, and then start up like Quiet Room Sheep or something like that.
True. Yeah.
Just no, that doesn't seem like you have any end to your creative thoughts here. So that's awesome. What we're gonna do is we're gonna also put all your links on where to get anything that you're talking about today, whether it's your art, your bears, in the bio below.
Right.
So people who do watch this show know where to get this stuff. I honestly I think this is like the coolest, coolest thing ever. Like, I'm just looking at them behind me. I can't stop staring at them. They're kind of like looking at me, right?
They're all very different.
That's awesome.
This one doesn't have. Some of these are. A couple of years ago, I wrote and directed a short film based on these bears, which I just found out is actually on Amazon Prime in the States and the UK. So any of your viewers that want to watch it, just a little 16-minute movie that is incredibly bloody at the end. Awesome. We have people walk out of some screenings we did a couple years ago, so that made me feel actually like pretty proud.
Okay. Yep. No, that's awesome. We'll put that link in there too.
Yeah. Just on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
But they're all very different.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. That one's awesome.
Yeah.
You do good stuff. Thanks, stuff. Man. It's people like you that make social media and the internet fun.
I'm just glad that there's so many other weirdos like us out there that love like this stuff. And it's like, I mean, the horror community is like such a family, you know what I mean? It's like we're all the weirdos, and it's like we all like weird shit like this, and it's like I love the horror community.
That's one of the coolest things about like doing what I do now. It's like talking to people like you that I normally never would, right? And just to kind of tap into some people's brains, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's good to know that there's people that are out there that like. I kept telling my parents when I was younger that, I'm not crazy. I swear I'm normal. I just have like weird likes, and here's everybody else. So that's awesome. Do you have anything else you want to close off with before we?
No, gosh. Nothing off the top of my head.
No, that's okay. We covered it a lot, but so I do actually, before we go, so filmmaking, that's something that is you too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like that was the first one I directed and wrote, and I want to do more stuff in the future. I have like an idea. I have a small short film that I want to do that's like very like Bob Ross meets like Satan kind of thing. And so I want to do a couple more shorts, like horror comedy shorts and stuff like that. It was I like it. It was just, I think when I made this one, it was even though it was only a short film, it was like I was unprepared for how fucking hard it is.
Yeah.
Like I knew it would be hard going in, but it's like it was so stressful.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to get a couple more things maybe under my belt before I would ever tackle anything larger or whatever.
For sure.
But it's super fun.
Yeah.
I just like doing creative things. So whatever.
Right now, it sounds like your plate is full, right? I mean, you're doing what you got to do right now, and but you're making a living off it, and that's awesome. And honestly, thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
All right, that's all the time we have for this episode of the Horror/Show Road to Halloween. Don't forget, we got a big costume party coming up on our Halloween episode at the end of the month. Last Friday of the month. I'd like to thank Lee Howard for being on the show. Anna, that Star Wars girl, I'd love to thank her for being on that show. Be back here next week when we have Sassy Sledgehammer back in the house and all our regular programming is restored. Until then, subscribe, hit the notifications tab, like us on all our social media platforms, and we'll see you soon. Unless you die.